Alright, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Nicholas Holmes Tetra Ninja, and this is going to be my full review of the Sony PlayStation 3 exclusive game developed by Naughty Dog called The Last of Us. Pretty much probably one of the bigger games that's going on YouTube right now. I think every gaming channel is covering it. And I finished the game last night. My entire series will be 49 parts long and uploaded fairly quickly, probably at around 6 to 8 episodes per day. So that's pretty quick. So what can I say about this game that hasn't been said already? It's pretty much got unanimous praise every media outlet worth mentioning. Obviously there's always those troll ones that are just trying to grab attention by giving the game a lower score, but people have claimed it to be a generational game, claimed it that it's a genre defining game, and yet pretty much that. I've made a gigantic list of things that I wanted to hit on. So first thing we'll talk about is the production value, and the production value is fairly high up there in terms of the amount of detail in this post-apocalyptic world. There's just everything seems it was right on the money on how I would think the apocalypse would look. And so props to the art team. It's right up there with the amount of detail as BioShock Infinite and the world that was trying to create. So hit the nail on the hammer right there. In terms of graphics, as you can expect from Naughty Dog games, it was amazing. Although we can really do see that this console generation is wearing a bit longer and that it is showing its age, even with cracked teams such as Naughty Dog developing it. The consoles are just really old now, so it's a good thing that we have new consoles coming around in November. But even so, considering on the hardware that's running, the graphical fidelity of the game was just astounding. In terms of storyline, it just sucks you in and does not let you go. You feel a real affinity towards all the characters, and you would feel... I'm going to try to keep this as spoiler as possible, so yeah. You feel a great affinity towards all the characters, especially Joel and Ellie. The voice acting was superb, and it really connected you to the characters. Even though Troy Baker, you probably have heard him lots of times in every other game, he did a stellar job as Joel and mimicking that southern accent, and Ashley Johnson did a fantastic job as the voice of Ellie, and so did the rest of the cast, who I do not know the names of, but voice acting was spot on, right on the money. And in terms of gameplay, the game focused mainly on stealth gameplay, just because it's a resource management game in that you have to maintain your resources carefully if you want to survive encounters. So basically, rule of thumb is do not use any resources if you are going up against the clickers or the runners or the bloaters, the zombies or the infected. I did not usually use any of my guns just because if you used any loud weapons, they would all bro rush you, and that pretty much be GG no re. And I did the same thing for the human encounters as much as I possibly could. I'm a stealth guy. I love stealth gameplay. I love stealth games. I feel that, especially in a game like this, you are rewarded. But on the normal difficulty, I never ran into a situation while I was playing where I felt that, man, I needed more things. On the normal difficulty, I felt that the way I was playing was perfect, and I always had an abundance of resources. Maybe if I would have cranked it up to harder difficulty, it would have been a little bit more difficult, and maybe I wouldn't have had as much resources to use. But in terms of that, the path is up to you. Just hitting on that note, you can fly through the level as quickly as possible, trying to bypass all the zombies, and when you can, all the humans. You may not want to, though, because if you clear out an entire area of infected, then most likely you'll be able to scavenge the hidden items that are around there. Same thing with the human encounters. That's why during my walkthrough, I usually did my best to clear out entire areas just so I can have a chance to look for everything and make sure that I grabbed as much as I possibly can. So yeah, the entire game was probably around 15 hours of gameplay. I reset it a lot of times just to restart encounters. I did a somewhat adequate job, I think, editing that out in terms of the walkthrough. But it's very I'm very OCD in terms of my gaming, but yeah, pretty much everything everyone has said has been correct so far. It was a fantastic game developed by Naughty Dog. But well, there are a couple negatives. The storyline was a little bit predictable. I kind of, if you are watching my walkthrough, everything I guessed in the game while I was playing came to pass. So yeah, there weren't really any plot twists along the way, other than the only thing that really kept you engaged is that interaction between Joel and Ellie, in terms of their relationship and all the other stuff. And although they didn't mass affect the ending I felt was a little bit unflushed. It wasn't as satisfying as I would want. I first thought off that maybe they were thinking of developing DLC for this game, but from what I've gathered from my past experience with Naughty Dog games, with the Uncharted series, they never do storyline DLC. It's always just strictly multiplayer. So possibly they're just leaving the story open for the next game, depending on how they decide to do it. But in my opinion, the ending felt a little unflushed out. So yeah. So other than that, that's pretty much my quick thoughts and opinions of the game. And once again, I will never give a game a perfect 10. I feel that if no game is ever a perfect game, that you can get very, very close, but there is no perfect game, in my opinion, out there in the world. But I will give it a fantastic score of 9.8. If I decide to put 8 right there, 9.8. So, and yeah, it was definitely a generational defining game. It basically it's set the bar really high in terms of storytelling in a video game. It was basically a movie the entire way. Well, as good as a movie in my opinion the entire way through, and I enjoyed every minute of playing it, and hopefully you guys are either playing it yourself or enjoying my walkthrough of it. And in terms of the giveaway, that will be announced later this week. I decided to do a giveaway of the game for 3 lucky people who liked and favorited the video on the first part and answered the 3 questions that I asked. So if you have not done so already and you would like to be entered for that, then check out part 1, drop a like and fave, and answer the questions I asked you guys. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That is my review of The Last of Us. 9.8. Fantastic game the entire way through. Can't wait to see what Naughty Dog is going to be whipping up next. And yeah, hopefully you guys are enjoying the channel. Hope you guys are enjoying the series. And as always, have a fantastic day.